Alright, before we get into the episode, please remember to check out our previous video. Sokoku, meaning closed country, was the isolationist foreign policy of the Japanese Tokugawa shogunate, under which for a period of 214 years, relations and trade between Japan and other countries were severely limited. Nearly all foreign nations were barred from entering Japan, and common Japanese people were kept from leaving the country. The policy was enacted by the Tokugawa shogunate, though it ended after 1853, when the American black ships commanded by Matthew Perry forced the opening of Japan to America, and by extension Western trade through a series of treaties. Okay, so now that we got the Wikipedia out of the way, today's topic will be about stagnation. And yes, I know you saw the thumbnail, and we want to get to the juicy bits on my thoughts about exotics, XXL's, and Merle's, but I wanted to try something new today. See, I've asked myself this question for a while, specifically about exotics. How in the world could anyone like these? I mean, for real. And I'm not hating or anything. I'm legitimately confused as to why anyone would like this style of dog. Or I guess this is still a dog. And real quick freeform. The Merle lovers and the XXL lovers are no better either. I mean, you legit have the Merles, take for example the Merles. You can't breed two Merles together, right? That you literally can't have two of those dogs breed together, or terrible consequences will happen. XXL lovers are no better either. I mean, it looks like the life expectancy for them are like 6 or 7. I mean, legit, the so-called biggest dog in the world. I could be wrong about this. Like I said, this is freeform. I think he got neutered at 6, right? And then, not trying to call out any names, but, the biggest kennels and stuff like that, their dogs usually die at 2 or 3, which is around the same age as, the same life expectancy as exotics. So, but I digress. You know what? Scratch that. As many of you already know, I love bigger dogs, but I really love functioning dogs. And disclaimer, I'm going to go ahead and say this here. I don't just dislike something because it may be something I don't condone and or agree with, because that something may not agree with me, if that makes any sense. And I hope vice versa. But what in the world happened to the state of the dog game? I mean, I can't even believe I'm about to say this, but legit, actual defects are being praised and sought after. I mean, come on. Where in society do you see people begging and pleading for disabilities or defects for themselves? I mean, heck, if animals could talk, I think they would agree that's not something they would want to be born with. You know what? Let's just get back on schedule. Anyways, stagnation. We all know that being stagnant isn't a good thing. We need to evolve. We need to learn new things, do new things. It's just the way things are. Take, for example, a body of water. If it's stagnant and it doesn't move, the mosquitoes are able to lay eggs and then produce more disease-biting flies. But a running stream of water, that same mosquito wouldn't be able to do the same, which prevents the reproduction of mosquitoes and prevents more disease from that species. The Japanese truly made a terrible mistake by shutting themselves off from the rest of the world. I mean, yes, around in that period, their culture really boomed, and they were truly at peace with themselves, I guess. But like I said, they completely shut themselves off from the rest of the world. If any foreigner was to step foot there, they would execute you on the spot. They were truly set on believing only what they wanted to believe, nothing else to do with the rest of humanity. But as I said before, this was a grave mistake, and long after America eventually took notice of the resources of whale colon. Whale colon? Whale colon? Yeah, I may have said that wrong. Anyways, a technologically superior America came and said, yo, I want what you got over there. You guys are gonna need to cut this shit out and share what you have with the rest of the world. We don't care about no Buddha, and we don't care about no chopsticks. And with that being said, the Japanese literally not sharing ideas with the rest of the world and not receiving new ideas for weaponry, they had no choice but to comply with America and the rest of the nations that they told to screw off to. They ended up becoming one of the weakest nations that existed at that time. And that's about it of the major parts of this terrible decision that they made long ago. It didn't bode well for the Japanese. And there's a bit more to it, but, fast forward. Now look at them. They have the third strongest economy in the world. They had to play catch up with the rest of the world. Now, I know many of you already know the Japanese value hard work above anything else. Their schools are very academically overbearing. Suicide rates have risen. Heart attacks have become an anomaly for younger people. There's even a sexless epidemic that's happening over there in the past 10 years. Japan's population has decreased by 1 million as a result to it. Result, that's what I meant to say. And this is all results to a decision made a couple hundred years ago. I'm sure they won't make this mistake ever again. Probably. Hopefully they won't. Now, I know you're probably asking, what the heck does this have anything to do with dogs? Well, after making this script and, kind of going through it and stuff like that, I really realized my thoughts really aren't important. Well, for you guys. But, I already know what I think about these three. And if you follow me on Instagram at Xxl'S, then you would already kind of have an idea on what I, think about them. But I'm going to take you guys on one more quick journey. And I promise this will be it. This will be it. Just follow me for a second. Pit bulls. Yeah, pit bulls. Now, I really don't need to go through a whole timeline on where they came from and all that type of jazz. And, what was the biggest bloodlines back in the day. Let's just kind of take a general look at this for a second. We all know what the majority use for pit bulls were back in the day, and it was for the box. Now, I don't condone the box, but it is what it is. Fact of the matter is, I'm pretty sure a lot of you don't condone it either, but the simple fact is this. It was a big thing back in the day. Heck, from what I understand, that was the state of the dog game back in the day, but it's nowhere near as prominent as it is today. Okay, so freeform real quick. This isn't in anything that I decided to put in this video, but I have really just thought about it now. One thing, if you go on the internet now these days, Facebook groups and stuff like that, or just on the internet at all, it's a funny two-side thing in this dog game that's going on right now. And what I mean by that it's like, if you go to a pit bull group or whatever, and they'll just go crazy if a person who has blue dogs or bully dogs, they will go crazy. They will try to tear your head off if you try to state an opinion or anything of the sort. It's crazy. And then it's vice versa. If a person comes with a pit bull in a group or whatever like that, and they state their opinion, the people will go, the bully community will go crazy on them. It's just chaos right now. And then there's really no one to look up to. The biggest dog people, the biggest people, in the game, they all breed Merle's. And this is no hate to Merle or anything like that, but they breed Merle. That's a disqualification in any registry. Hell, I think there's only just one registry that even acknowledges Merle's. But even on paper, they're not even acknowledged as Merle's. It's just blotched. There's no one to look up to that stands for anything, because the only thing they stand for right now at the moment, the game it's just money. That's really all it is. And I'm specifically talking about right now. I'm specifically talking about the bully community. No one really stands for anything. This is a big reason why these dogs are looking every which way. Every which way. And man, it's at this point, because you'll have the pit bull community come this way at somebody, then you have the bully community come at that way, and it's like no one is doing a great job, in my opinion. If you was to ask me, the dichotomy I see right now, you'll have the bully community make fun of people who will buy a pit bull for $200, but then their bully may not live that long of a life, and then you'll have the pit bull community laugh at them for that, but then they take their pit, real pit bull, and I'm specifically talking about that that type of community. But then you'll have that same pit bull took, to a box later on and blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? And then they may not even live. They may not even live that long. You get what I'm saying? And see, this is a big reason why I wanted to start the video off with this. It's just like, old tradition. This is where these dogs come from. Old tradition. Into what's going on right now. The state of everything right now. Really, which was better? Look, all I have left to ask is which is better, the box or unwell dogs. Heck, remember, the life expectancy of dogs were double what they are now. I guess this whole game was never right, and it never will be.